what is going on, guys? The God of War director has gone on a woke tirade. He has jumped to the defense of everyone's favorite Marvel actress, Brie Larson. And boy, is his rant a good one. And by a good one, I mean that it makes him look like a complete and utter artard. So let's get down to it. As you guys can see, we are over here on Bounding Into Comics. The reason why we are here is because they were able to document this tirade that David Jaffe won on. And it is a good one. So we'll see where it all started at. And it all started with a reply to this video right here.
How long will you play Captain Marvel for?
I don't know. Does anyone want me to do it again?
Don't be so modest.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
Now that video is some cringeworthy, and this is what one user had to say. His name is Mr. N. Shillman. It feels like Brie Larson always goes out of her way to be as unlikable as possible. The man just asked a question. Don't turn into yet another passive-aggressive session on how you let the internet live rent-free in your head. This is true. The whole video, it reeked of this passive-aggressive thing. Like, Brie Larson didn't want to admit that it is her fault, that people don't like her. You know, there would have been a better way she could have answered that question, but this here is what triggered a response from good old David. So this is what David says. They can say Captain Marvel is a bad movie, but here's the truth. They don't like Brie because she doesn't give a fuck about them. She doesn't pine for their love/affection. She doesn't need their adulation. She won't kiss the nasty ring of undeveloped geek men, so they hate her for it. No. Like, yes, like it's her fault that people don't like her. But it's not because of this. It's because of her attitude. She's cocky. She is arrogant. She has this holier-than-thou, whose shit doesn't stink personality. And the thing about this is that she doesn't have the acting skills to back up this personality. She just doesn't. She isn't a very good actor. People know it. People hate her for it, and people hate just how bad of a horrible human being that she is from the way she acts. And the thing is, if she was good at actually what she did, people would be able to look past this. Because what David Scott just listed is the exact same personality that someone else had. Someone that David Scott probably didn't vote for. The difference was he was actually good at doing his job. But if we continue on here, we can see that it just doesn't end. He keeps on going on, going on, going on. So he says this. They hate Black Widow, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, and Captain Marvel. AKA strong women who don't pine for male approval. They love Scarlet Witch, a woman who literally destroys universes because she can't have the man she loves. See the pattern? It's misogyny, and it's gross. This is where his argument starts to unravel. Black Widow, I never watched Black Widow. I have seen that it kind of received, I guess, normal praise. People were saying it's good. Some people didn't like it, but it was nothing over the top. She-Hulk is something else I never watched. I stay away from all these new Marvel movies because of the wokeness in them. But the reason why people hate She-Hulk is because it's a bastardized version of that character. It's because the writers didn't even look into her history, into She-Hulk's origin. They used the character to convey their own message and said, screw you to anybody who doesn't like it. The show is filled with hypocrisies, bad writing, and scenes like this.
Well, here's the thing, Bruce. I'm great at controlling my anger. I do it all the time. When I'm catcalled in the street, when incompetent men explain my own area of expertise to me, I do it pretty much every day, because if I don't, I will get called emotional or difficult, or I might just literally get murdered. So I'm an expert at controlling my anger because I do it infinitely more than you.
And Captain Marvel, people don't like Captain Marvel because of Brie Larson. If you had another actor playing that role, I guarantee you there would be a lot more praise for that movie. And if we keep on going down here, we can see that another Twitter user replied to him and said this. Yet somehow they love Yelena, Shuri, Kate, Jessica Jones, OK, Katie Shin, Valkyrie, Nebula, and Gamora. Or to take it out of the MCU and keep it current, Kim Rexler, Ahsoka, Kimiko, Max, and Rue. those so-called racist misogynists really need to step up their game. And this is what he says in response to that, which is something that makes him look even more like a dipshit. Sure, because nothing about these stories has anything to do with them being women. They simply are women. But have a geek story be a geek story that also speaks to/from female experience, and the sky is falling on these people, because it makes them terribly uncomfortable. His argument starts unraveling even more right here. Because in case he didn't know, which he probably didn't even watch it, he's probably just trying to say anything to validate his points, to make him think in his own head that he won. Jessica Jones, season 1, is about her dealing with an abusive ex. About an abusive ex relationship that she was in. Something that, unfortunately, a lot of women do have to deal with. But no, that show there, it has nothing to do with them being women. They're just women. That's why people like it. This guy, he's talking out of his ass right now. And it gets, this is the last thing he says here, and then he does a little video that we're going to watch too. Last thing, do they have points that some of the stories are not fantastic? 100%. But that's almost any movie, and that's fine. But it's the viciousness and consistency with which they beat on the not perfect women films that comes off as creepy and worrisome. I have a lot to say about this, but I'm not going to say it right now because he kind of repeats this point down in his video, and that is where I'm going to be voicing my opinion at. So let's watch what he has to say.
Yeah, real quick, I didn't realize some of you folks needed this much help, but let me help you.
So let's be clear right now. He's calling everybody an idiot that doesn't agree with him. He's trying to say it in a way that he's not actually saying. He's saying it in a way that's actually more insulting. Look, if I think someone's an idiot, I straight up call them an idiot. If he had balls, he'd be like, hey, look, idiots, this is what I meant. But, you know, he can't because he doesn't have any.
Yeah, when I call the people who are hating on the more female-centric MCU.
Yeah, female-centric, because it only happens with those ones.
Shows. I call them misogynistic, or their actions are misogynistic. And immediately they rush to Twitter.
They rush to Twitter just exactly like he did. Jump to Brie Larson's defense. Isn't this is the whole woke thing, the whole woke mentality. They're all fucking hypocrites.
And they're like, no, they're just bad, Jeffy. What about
they are bad.
Wonder Woman 1, we hate
from
Wonder
what I've
Woman
heard
4, and all this shit. Yes, you're missing the point, because I'm not saying you are overtly misogynistic.
He's not saying you're overtly misogynist. Like he's just saying that you kind of are.
I'm in the women's hater club or the whammons hater club, whatever the fuck it is you guys say.
You're not misogynistic to the point that you'll beat up someone for being a woman, but you're still misogynistic because you don't agree with his opinion.
It's the consistent badgering and beating up on the geek-centric content that you call woke.
There's a reason why people do this. People do not like wokeness. They just don't. They absolutely hate it. That is why when something is woke, people beat up on it, because it is a stupid fucking culture. But guys like this here, guys like him, good old David Scott Jaffe, or however the fuck you pronounce his last name, can't seem to get that into his head.
That's the part that's misogynistic, homophobic, racist.
Yeah, so if you keep going after something because it's woke, you're racist, you're misogynistic, and you're homophobic. And you know what? You know my biggest problem with him saying that? It's not that he's even calling people names that he doesn't agree with, because, hey, I do that sometimes. That's just me talking. I don't think that everybody's an idiot. Some of them are, some of them are not. That's just me speaking in general terms. But he is using words that he does not know the meaning of. Misogynist, racist, homophobic, Nazis, fascism, fascists, all that stuff. When you use those words so liberally, they lose all the impact and meaning that they actually had. It is a horrible thing to do. It is a huge pet peeve of mine. I just recently watched a stand-up. I forget which one it was. It might have been Bill Burr. And he was talking about how back in the day, when one of your friends used to say, oh, watch out, this fella's a Nazi, you knew to stay away from him. First thought, oh, I better stay away from him. Now someone says that, your first thought is, oh, I wonder who he pissed off or wonder what he did. This guy, he's adding to the problem. Like, no, this guy needs a fucking dictionary. Look, I might even buy him one, you know? Well, why not? I might buy one, send it to the fucking studio he works at. See if that helps him any.
Right? Iron Man 2 is a shit movie. Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man's not a shit movie, but it has as much emotional resonance as a fucking average episode of an ABC sitcom that you don't even remember the name of anymore, right? I'm looking at the list of MCU titles right now. I mean,
yeah, because you can't think of any.
Dark World. Now, no one's saying that you guys are out there defending those movies. Avengers 2, there's some great moments in that movie, but it wasn't a great movie. No one's saying you guys are out there defending those movies as good movies. The point is you don't say much of anything about them, even the Eternals.
So this is bullshit. What he just said is bullshit. Iron Man 2. I don't know if he means Iron Man 2 or if he means Iron Man 3, because Iron Man 3 was a universally hated movie, and it still gets a lot of hate. I'm not a comic connoisseur, so, you know, I just started recently reading comics. So when I watched Iron Man 3, I went ahead, I knew nothing about the comics, and I actually liked it. When I found out what they kind of did to the characters in it, like the Mandarin or whatever his name was, I was kind of pissed off, right? I was pissed off for the comic book fans, because as someone who is a connoisseur of video games, I know how they feel when something like this happens. When characters are bastardized, when wokeness infiltrates the things they love. Even though that wasn't so much with Iron Man 3. But let's be clear about that. Iron Man 3 got a lot of hate. It still gets a lot of hate, and it's known as one of the worst movies in the MCU. Thor: Dark World, exact same thing. It is known as one of the worst movies. The hate it got was unbelievable. It's absolutely nuts. This guy, he's listing off movies he knows nothing about. And he's doing this just to see if he hits something that validates his point. Another example he mentioned, The Eternals. The Eternals was another movie that got a lot of backlash. In fact, when this movie first came out, anybody who dared speak against it was a racist. But I guess apparently he didn't really get that memo.
Which I think, even though I thought it was interesting, most people would agree is one of the weakest MCU movies.
So if he agrees with it, if he thinks that it's one of the weakest MCU movies, like most people does, he's a racist. Let's use his own games against him. He's a racist. There was women in it too. He's a misogynist. I think there was a gay guy too in it too. Wasn't there? So he's a homophobic.
Eternals doesn't get the consistent shit upon that
yes,
She-Hulk,
it does. You dipshit.
Captain Marvel.
I would explain why all those got shit on.
We were talking about these earlier. Captain Marvel.
And it has nothing to do with women being leads. It has to do with them bastardizing the characters. She-Hulk. Her origin story was amazing. Not like in the show, but I mean the actual origin story for her character in the comics, from what I've read, which pretty much has her being the target of a mob hit. Her origin story was really good. They fucked it up in She-Hulk just to put off this perspective that that women are just as tough as men, which is absolutely horrible, because that scene I played earlier when she's talking about literally being killed for being a woman or whatever, or she's literally scared of being killed for being one. Absolutely horrible. Because Bruce Banner's story was that he was he was a victim of abuse. As a kid, his father was abusive, if I remember correctly. And this is the thing. This is why a lot of people hate it, because it's saying I can control my anger better than you. Better than someone who has been dealing with this stuff for years. Better than someone who has tried to kill themselves to take them out of their misery. Yeah, I hardly doubt that. This is why people don't like it, because they're introducing all these new female characters and they're trying to push it off that they're just as strong as the old timers. Even though that the old timers, the superheroes that are men, have been dealing with this shit for longer than them. It's absolutely horrible. And something that the woke mob and this David Scott fella just can't seem to get.
Black Widow, the movie, and there was like one or two other ones. So yes, I understand that you can champion an obvious great movie like Aliens or Alien, or like Sarah Connor in Terminator 2, or like WandaVision, when you can't deny it, it's great. That's not the misogynistic part. The misogynistic part, or the hate part, or the part where you reveal your true colors, which is to say you are uncomfortable at some level with the opposite sex, people who are LGBT.
Once again, he's doing the racist, homophobic, misogynist thing.
People of color, if you are not one of those folks, somewhere along the lines, you are revealing, by the very nature of your consistent targets, you're not saying, let's fucking rag on the MCU, Thor Dark World, Avengers 2, Iron Man 2 is shit. Captain America and the Winter Soldier had some moments, but it wasn't a great show. Yeah, She-Hulk, you know, Miss Marvel, whatever. It's just the women.
No, it's not, you dumb fuck.
Right?
It's not.
That's the misogynist.
No, it's not.
The frequency of the things
Thor,
you
Dark
choose to
World,
beat upon.
Iron Man 3, The Eternals,
is
Moon Knight.
Where you need to do some work when you call BetterHelp.
Yeah, I would say Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but you know, he might be able to say that, well, you didn't like that because it's racist because they had a black man in it. You don't like it because you're racist. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. You know, like, this is nuts.
Whatever it is that you know, your real life therapist or whatever it is
and this is the thing is too, he is using the cheapest fucking pop out you can use. He's saying that, hey, you know, you guys are mentally ill, you should get help. This is absolutely horrible because this guy is the one that is mentally fucking ill and that needs help. It's another thing is that it's this victimhood mentality all the woke have. They see something, they see someone disagreeing with their opinions, and they feel personally attacked by them. So they rationalize it. They say that, well, this thing's good, I like it. So the reason why other people must not like it is because they're racist, they're homophobics, they're misogynists, all this stuff. And like I said before, the reason why I'm covering this is because this guy here is the director for God of War. And if these are his opinions, if this is what he actually thinks, more than likely, you will see that coming into the God of War Ragnarok game. It's nuts. It is absolutely nuts. And it's something that we've already seen with them race trap in Angrboda. Angrboda was described as red-haired. Most people who are red-haired are paled skin. Gingers, right? We all know what a ginger is thanks to South Park. Daywalkers. But they completely done away with that. It's nuts. It's absolute. This guy, it's... I swear to God that I just want to go ahead right now and drown myself in the ocean that's right across from me. But in case you guys didn't know, I'm Gamer Geek. If you could like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Peace out.